Tim Petrowich for Dateline Marion here with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin. And I know we say this every week, and it almost sounds like it's a broken record, but how hard is it to believe we're two-thirds of the way through the football season?
Yeah, well, it's hard to believe week 7, and here we are talking end of the season and 2 conference games left, and playoff hopes looming for a lot of schools, and it's just temperature outside feels more like the end of football season. We started this season, it was so hot, and now it's starting to cool off and get a little rainy and damp, and it's hard to believe, but it's here.
Well, we're a few days after the game last Friday, and a very impressive 28-18 win for the Wildcats over Belleville Althoff. And Coach, I think we talked about this after the game. Probably overall, when you put together offense, defense, and special teams, overall the best performance of the Wildcats this season.
I would say, given the quality of the opponent, playing on the road, and given those 3 phases of the game, I thought it was the best performance we've had. Certainly there were still a lot of mistakes. Certainly we had the ball in the red zone twice and didn't score, which, it's not something you want to see happen, but I was real proud of the performance overall. No one side of the ball kind of had to carry the weight. It was a good mix of all 3 phases of the game.
Given the 2 previous weeks where your team kind of struggled a little bit, it was, I think, really important to go up to Belleville and make a statement, not only to the rest of the conference and the rest of the teams on your schedule, but make a statement to yourselves to get some confidence back.
That's a good point. I think it was probably more important to us than anything else. I think, having the ability to go up and play a good team on the road and to win like that was certainly good for, I think, our morale, and certainly good for our kids' confidence going into a big game against Centralia and homecoming against Carbondale. So we needed that.
You had some good performances. Matt Lewis snapped out of his little slump and had a pretty good night, threw for 181 yards. Unofficially, what we had, and ironically, Matt threw for 181 yards and Henry Jones ran for 181 yards. And so you talk about balance, and that right there is some pretty good balance.
It is. We've got pretty good balance for the season. Checking the statistics, we're about 1,200 passing, about 1,000 rushing right now. So we have good balance there, and it's good to see it for the season. It's even good to see it for a game performance, because we talk about balance creates problems for defenses, and that's what we want to be.
There were a lot of eerie parallels between this year's Althoff game and last year's Althoff game. When I went back and looked, you didn't fall behind as much, but last year in the game, Althoff kicked the field goal to start the game.
Right.
Last year, Marion's first touchdown was a Matt Lewis to John Evans pass play.
Wow.
And last year in the game, Henry Jones got a touchdown run to ice the game after you taken the lead.
Wow.
So a lot of strange parallels. This Althoff Marion game has become one of the more exciting and strange games in this rivalry.
I agree. In the last several years, we've had a lot of close games, and the games are, physical games. And there's a lot of big plays in the games. There's punt returns and long passes and fumble recoveries, and there's a lot of stuff going on in these ball games. Big plays. These games have become a favorite matchup for our fans, and a lot of people comment on how close they know the game's going to be and how hard fought it is, and I don't think this was any exception.
Your team we talked about fumbles. Your team didn't have too many fumble recoveries, only 1, but 4 interceptions, and all 5 of those turnovers came in the second half, when you were able to kind of build up that lead and then maintain it.
It helped a lot, when you can steal a possession from a good team like that and get them off the field and give your offense a chance to put some more points on the board. And certainly our touchdowns came at crucial times, and they battled right back and got back within a few points, and we responded. But they're a good football team. They always give us a tough time defensively, and I was real proud of the effort, because it's not always been easy to put 4 touchdowns up on a good Althoff defense.
I think we have to mention the effort put out by Jared Doris last week, stepping in when John Dalton got hurt.
Right.
And Jared didn't have very many yards, but it seemed like every time he got the ball, he got some tough yards. As little as he is, he got some really tough yards, and they came in crucial times.
I agree with you. I thought he had an outstanding game. He blocked well. He just, there were things that I think he's going to certainly improve on, having had a game under his belt. But good performance, good gutsy performance, and as you said, crucial carries at crucial times in the game. Not great statistics, but just key carries.
We have to talk about this as we get ready to talk about Centralia coming up this week. First, let's talk about John. He hurt his shoulder, I guess, early in the game. What's his status for this week?
I kind of, we're probably looking at him being cleared sometime later this week. So playing time for John is doubtful. We'll wait and see. We get a little further in the week, but as of right now, his status probably doubtful.
And then Matt Lewis, late in the game, hurt his wrist. I think he came out probably as a precautionary measure in the game. But what's his status going to be for this week?
Still
as well?
unknown. Still unknown. We're confident that Matt's going to be back, but still unknown. He's being looked at today as we're doing the interview, and we'll know a whole lot more in a few hours.
Other than that, say that Matt can't play and say that John can't play. I think you proved last week, and we've known that you've got some quality subs in there with Jared Doris and Brent Hill. Directed a couple of drives, including a scoring drive last week. And of course, it's fun to direct a scoring drive when you can hand it to Henry and have him break off a long run. But still, he had to make some decisions on what to do, and he did a good job.
He did a good job, and we're confident that he can continue doing a good job. He's got a shot at being our quarterback for next year. As I know he'll battle it out with Jordan Evans, a sophomore, but we're confident that Brant's going to be a good quarterback, and I think he already is. I think we planned on getting him more involved at the quarterback spot. Planned on playing him a few series this Friday or last Friday, even if no matter what happened. And we knew he was ready. He's very confident. He's very ready to go. He has a good grasp of most of what we do playbook wise, and I think if he has to play, he'll play well.
And I think he adds another element to the offense that maybe Matt doesn't have with coming off the knee surgery and everything, is that Brant has a little bit of quickness and can give you some running ability at that quarterback spot.
Certainly there are things we can do game plan wise to get him more involved in that way, yes.
You're playing Centralia. Centralia shared the conference title with you last year. They're off to a 6-0 start this year, and they've done it in a variety of ways. High-scoring games. 2 weeks ago, they had a shootout with Althoff, scored on the last play of the game. Last week, a very impressive 8-0 shutout win over Cahokia. So they're really kind of hard to prepare for, aren't they?
They are. They do a lot of things well. They're now playing better defense. They've got good quarterback, good running back. Ray does a great job, and Ray's a great game planner and a great play caller. So, we know that what they bring to the table. We had a whale of a ball game here a year ago. We beat them late in the game and had to come back from a 3-touchdown deficit to do so. So we know that they're a good team, and there's no surprises here. We have to go to Centralia to do this, and we are absolutely excited about the opportunity, the challenge brought before us, and quite frankly, we're just blessed to have a second chance. We lost that game to Cahokia, and it didn't look like we were going to have a second chance to be in the conference championship hunt, or possibly. And now with Centralia beating Cahokia, we've got a shot now to get back in the race and kind of control our own destiny. If we can pull off a couple of big wins here late, we got a chance to have a share of that conference championship again, and we're just going to take them one at a time, and hopefully we can get it done.
Centralia is going to be possibly in a similar boat to you. Well, they are in a similar boat in that their quarterback, Sisaikic, got hurt last week.
Yes.
He's questionable for this week. Last year, when you played them and you gave him fits and caused some trouble in that comeback, they put Rashad Campbell in behind center. That's just as dangerous because he does so many things too. And, when you hear those names, Sisaikic, Campbell, different names like that, it seems like they've been there forever.
They have. They've both been starting and playing a lot since they were sophomores, and we've been watching them, battling against them for quite some time now, and this is their senior year, and I think no matter how you slice it, even if Diamond doesn't play and Campbell has to play more quarterback or Wildcat, that's formidable. I mean,
exactly.
So I don't want to sit here and say, or think to myself, we're better off if Sokodiach is out or whatever. We just know they're a good football team. They've got a lot of things they're going to bring to the table. They've got a great play caller and game planner at the head coaching position. So it's going to be a tough game.
And then you mentioned the improved defense makes them. Last year, you could always say, well, you could score a lot of points and keep them from, holding a series or two. This year it's different because they proved they can shut out a team like Cahokia.
They have. They've shown they can play better defense, and so we certainly, don't have the luxury of thinking to ourselves, well, we can put up 30-some or 40-some and just outscore them. I'm not sure that's a possibility anymore. We're going to have to play good defense and contain their big plays, and certainly try to contain Rashad's big play abilities. And special teams is going to play a factor in this. Turnovers will play a factor in this. And, it's going to be a great game.
Your defense last week gave up quite a few passing yards, but at the same time, a lot of those were, just underneath passing late in the game. They gave up some yards off and on, but you didn't give up the big plays very much.
Right.
One long pass, and only one passing touchdown, I think. And the defense played pretty well against a passing team that Althoff was forced to beat.
They did. We've asked, we've been game planning our defense and trying to get our defense to play a little better as far as making plays. And I think they've been coming up with more big plays lately and getting the ball back to us. And it was a big night for us in the second half, getting those turnovers and putting the ball back in the hands of our offense and Henry. And so they need to do it again this week. That kind of defensive performance is what we need to see again.
Second week in a row, you're a homecoming opponent. And you mentioned after the Cahokia game, and pretty much before that as well, that when you're a two-time defending conference champion, everyone wants to have their best game and they're going to bring their A game. And so Centralia, possibly just by the way the calendar falls, or possibly because they want to add that much more emotion to this game, has got Marion as their homecoming opponent, like Althoff did last week. Makes your team have to work that harder and concentrate that much harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I'm sure it'll be extra incentive for them. Nobody wants to lose their homecoming game, and there's a lot of excitement there right now. But we wouldn't have it any other way. We like playing in big games, and we like having the opportunity to play in crucial ball games that are pivotal for your season. And that's what you do all that work for in the off season. You want ball games like this to play in a big game and have a chance to, kind of be in the spotlight a bit as a program, and go out and try to, get your fan support there. And I know our fans will be there in huge numbers, and hopefully we can give them a good performance.
I think you said after the game last week, 8th straight winning season now for the Wildcats.
Yeah.
And a win Friday night against Centralia makes it, I think, the eighth consecutive playoff team here at Marion.
Yeah.
How important is that?
Well, that's what it's all about. We love conference championships, but ultimately it's about having playoff teams and trying to compete for a state championship, and at least having the opportunity to. That's all we're asking for. We want to get in that tournament. We want to be one of the 32 teams that gets to play in the postseason, and that's really our ultimate goal every year. If you had to give me one goal, it's to be a playoff team. And so we're looking for another win here. We hope to get it this week, and we'd love to get 3 more if we can, but one at a time. Centralia's next, and hopefully we can put together another good performance, and hopefully it'll be good enough to win this ball game.
Well, it's Friday night, Marion at Centralia. Centralia's homecoming, big game for the Wildcats. We look forward to seeing you there.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Marion head football coach Kerry Martin for Dateline Marion. This is Tim Petrowich.